So on a normal day, I'm not really that into Korean shows. So when Squid Game first came out about a month ago, I was a bit reluctant to watch it, but enough friends were raving about it, and long story short, I finally got around to finishing it last weekend, and wow, I finally understand what the fuss was all about. Besides great characters, the story, and all around acting, I was inspired because I thought it had real world financial truths that were just really true. So today, I'll talk about the 5 real world lessons that we can learn from a show like Squid Game. Although I will not talk about the big twist in the show, nevertheless, there will be some scenes and incidents that I'll talk about which might spoil it for you. So yeah, you've been warned. Hey guys, it's Sunmin and welcome back to Your Money Game, the show where we'll save, invest, and feel better about money. The first and most obvious lesson is that financial desperation can really cause people to do things that they will not normally do. So in Squid Game, all of the characters are there because they're in debt, but that alone isn't special. What I thought was crazy was that even after the first game, and when they realized the horrors of what was going on, those people that returned knowing full well that death was involved, but they all came back because they were desperate. I thought it was cool that the characters were all from very diverse backgrounds. You've got the stereotype criminal Deok-soo, but then you've got the star himself Gi-hoon, who's just a regular guy who lost his job, had 2 failed businesses as well as a failed marriage. Then you've got Sang-woo, whose greed got the better of him, and finally maybe even characters like Abdul Ali, who were just unfortunate in their entire circumstance, and they were there because they were taken advantage of. Yes, it's dramatic, but I thought it's humbling to know that financial desperation can really affect anybody from all walks of life. A fun thought experiment that you can do for yourself is ask, if you were placed in a financially desperate situation, would you be able to be strong enough to do whatever you thought was the right thing? The next lesson is that when you're winning, the confidence builds, but that can also turn into overconfidence. So everyone that signed back on to play from the second round onwards did so because they thought they could win. Imagine how crazy is it that people would be willing to play a game where if you lose, you die. Yes, desperation did play a part, but it's also because they thought that, hey, there is a chance that they could win and walk away with something. Maybe surviving the first game gave them that sense of confidence that, hey, I can really do this. I'm going to make a guess that for those of you watching this, when you think of the word overconfidence, you might be imagining somebody on Wall Street bets really going YOLO with his money and taking it on a roller coaster ride. But guess what? If you are actively trading or even actively picking stocks, you are actually engaging in some sense of overconfidence already. And hey, before you accuse me of pointing fingers, I'm pointing at myself as well because I'm not 100% passive investor either. So you and me both, we need to remember that with every trade, we're actually making a decision which we believe is smarter than somebody else on the other side of the trade. And on top of that, statistics show that honestly, active trading or active stock picking, it's extremely difficult, and the vast majority of people do not outperform the index, even professional money managers. Of course, investing and trading is really personal, so it's really up to you of how you want to manage yourself when it comes to overconfidence. The next lesson is that serving our egos or identity can come at a really extreme cost. In the character Se-byuk, you can see that her ego makes her believe that she is truly the only person she can trust, and she's willing to put herself in danger by being a loner to fulfill that identity. In the character Minyo, you can see it in the scene where she's wanting to take revenge on Deok-soo and willing to sacrifice both of themselves in order for her to get revenge to feed again that ego that she has. But the most extreme case is Sang-woo, which throughout the show you can really see how he's wrestling with himself, but ultimately always makes decisions that somehow is justified in his head that he needs to be the winner. Now I think he's a perfect example about how all of us are really just expert rationalizers, because in our heads We tell ourselves all kinds of stories to justify the actions that we take in life. We in the real world seek and use money to live up to whatever identity that we feel we have or want to be. I guess the practical thing to do is just be aware about what kind of beliefs we have and whether or not those beliefs are serving us or helping us in any way. The fourth lesson is that there is always a game being played. In fact, there are many of them, and some with many different layers, and some with a lot of hidden players. For the guys in Squid Game, it starts out as a simple game in a subway where they thought they could win a bit of money. And then they join a game and they realize that, hey, there's 3 rules and a big game with prize money. And then they realize there's death involved, and so on and so forth. And for many of the players, they died before even realizing that there was a greater game being played. There were alliances between groups, there was that hierarchy system of operations, and then you had the VIPs, and then ultimately even a ringleader. I actually think real life is not very far off, where there are games upon games upon games in how we live our lives. For us, there are simpler money games where there are rules that are easy for us to learn and understand, like how does a bank account work, how does CPF work, and maybe even things like taxes. And then there are harder games to learn, such as maybe investing, how insurance works, and maybe even long-term financial planning. To me, the hardest are games that are just not really discussed generally by people around us. For example, career progression. How does that even work? What are the norms that you as somebody in your industry need to know? Then you've got things like negotiation and things like maybe even family finances. How does that all work? I think that we as individuals need to take charge, figure out what are the games that are being played out there, choose the ones that we want to be good in, and of course, learn from others so that we can become better players. The last lesson is that being rich won't make you happy unless you're happy with yourself. This really goes right till the end of the show where Ki-hoon walks away a winner and a billionaire. But it's very clear that he's already a bit of a zombie, because maybe it's the trauma that he's went through, the things he saw with his own eyes, or maybe even the things he had to do that he just can't live with himself. So it robbed him of feeling like a winner even though he won the game. And this is another example from the real world where you have people who've worked hard or have been lucky enough to become rich, but at the same time are not really happy. For you and me, it's all about trying to find what truly matters to us at work. This could influence the kind of job opportunities we want to take. It could also impact how many hours we choose to spend at work. When it comes to investing, it might prevent you from making an all or nothing bet on Dogecoin, or it might just help you feel a little bit more patient that maybe passive investing could be something that you adopt and let time work in your favor instead. Or for life in general, maybe it's a reminder for us to just sit back and reflect and feel grateful for all that we already have. So if you've watched Squid Game and picked up any other lessons, let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, I would appreciate your support in clicking that like, sub and bell button, and I'll be back again next Sunday with a brand new video. And until then, you take care and keep playing your own game.